and the meeting will come to order. The Ag Advisory meeting on November 10th, 2025. And I'm going to do the member roll call. James Oku.
Here.
Natalie Sayre here. John Vars.
Here.
Peter Markey.
Here.
Ryan Casey.
Here.
Paul Mazaragios Anastasio.
Here.
Chris O'Shea. Here. Daniel Theobald.
Here.
Eric Hagstrom. Marilyn Johnson.
Here.
San Mateo County Ag Commissioner Corin Little.
Here.
Farm Bureau Executive Director Jess Brown.
Here.
UC Co-op Extension Rep Dr. Igor Lacan. San Mateo County Planning Liaison Olivia Boo.
Here.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you for being here. The next item, oral communications to allow the public to address the committee on any matter not on the agenda. If your subject is not on the agenda, the chair will recognize you at this time. Thank you. The chair recognizes Carrie Burke.
Good evening. I was just wondering, we had last month's meeting, and I was hoping to see a continued item of marquee guard. It's not on this agenda, but it is on the planning commission agenda. So I was just hoping that it would actually be heard by the Agriculture Advisory Committee, and also that we didn't have Ed Diaz on the agenda. So I don't know, I thought that he was going to be present, or whether that's going to be on Zoom. And so those are just two things that I thought that we had a holdover, that we didn't get to conclude that business. And then also something that I don't know anything about, but that I do get notices from the state water board. And so there is a water right that's being petitioned on for state parks at Peters Creek, so in San Mateo County. So I don't know if that affects any agricultural operations in the area, but that's a creek that I'm not familiar with, but I thought this would be interesting. If you're interested, you can find it on the state. Well, it's a pending application before the state water.
What creek is it?
Peters.
Not mine.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. That's what I thought you meant. Peters Creek.
Where's
Yeah,
that?
not San Gregorio, it's not San Gregorio.
Where's it out there?
It's up kind of more by Alpine, so it's not in the vicinity that we normally, that you see farms. Thank you.
Thank you. So one other person?
Yes, yes, I'm Joan Chamberlain.
Joe Chamberlain.
Yes, I'm requesting that the consent item, that I be allowed to speak on the consent item.
Okay, Olivia, can you help me out with
Yes.
that, what I'm supposed to do?
The item, when it comes to the item, it can be requested to be moved to the regular agenda.
Okay, and do we vote on it or not vote
No, as far as I know, there's no vote.
So we just allow it to happen? And
Correct.
at tonight's meeting, or do we agendize it for another meeting?
Tonight's meeting.
Good question.
It would be in the very last of the items.
You can move it to item number 9 to before number 10, the last item.
Well, it already has number 6
Yeah.
on it.
Okay.
It's item number 6, Olivia.
So
Correct,
do you
but
want-
we'll move it to the regular agenda.
Oh. Very good.
I'm so sorry.
I don't know why it has
Do we
to be
leave it for 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's 5.5.
Okay, so it's gonna be agendized
It's already numbered.
rather than on consent agenda. Okay,
It's gonna move to a regular agenda.
okay. Okay, anybody else, member of the public, with something not on the agenda? Okay, can you state your name?
Yeah, Bridget Jett, just a citizen. I just wanted to say how I read the report regarding the San Gregorio Madera project from last month. And that it's kind of disappointing that the staff report or the memo reads that it was presented twice. It was not presented at the last meeting. It was tried to, and I understand there was a lot of conflict, but there was no chance of having a discussion or any of it. And the excuse is that tonight's agenda is too full, which should have been a priority for this agenda. Usually when you have a continued item, you continue it to the next meeting and it's the first thing that's on the agenda. So not giving the Ag Committee the right to express themselves on what this matter is pretty embarrassing for the county. And I think that they should be embarrassed over that. That's unprofessional. So that's my opinion. And I hope that people will be able to speak out on Wednesday, since they're speeding it up to the Planning Commission, because that is a official hearing item and it will be on go on the public record. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Well said. Anyone else, public member with an item not on the agenda? Okay, so we move to committee member updates and or questions to allow committee members to share news and or concerns for items not on the agenda. The chair recognizes, I can't see James. James Oku, thank you.
So we got told at Farm Bureau by Igor Khan that the UC co-op Elkis is losing about a third of their funding from the county from the environmental health department. So if we could be supportive of UC co-op and try and get them funding, that'd be appreciated. They're talking that there's like 3 positions, I think, that they said that could be on the line to be cut, including support for the 4-H program for the kids.
So 4-H is in jeopardy, it's not Elkis Ranch.
Well, Elkis Ranch funds 4-H and is like
No,
part of that.
no, UC Cooperative Extension and San Mateo County fund all, so Elkis is under the umbrella of Cooperative Extension, right? And so is 4-H. They're both under there.
Well, I guess their 4-H director at Elkis, there was some position there that had to do with 4-H that
They're the ones
who get the
applications, trying to keep things organized with among
Right.
chapters. That
Right.
position accounting for.
It's the 4-H
Yeah.
program representative. I was that.
She was. So they're saying that.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry, but I'm only allowed to limit for 3 minutes highlighted on this that I was given just now.
Yeah.
So I need to move to the next
are
thing.
you timing us?
Hi?
Did you time us?
No, but I'm
Oh, you
imagining, and also
well,
we're
you
not
should.
supposed to discuss. Is that correct? Thank you. Okay, so, sorry about
Oh,
that.
sorry.
And another committee member with an item not on the agenda, Daniel?
Yes, so I purchased the Bay Cities property and I have offered to the 4-H and Future Farmers America that they can have space there if needed. Hopefully that will help.
Very nice. Daniel Theobald for the record, committee member. Thank you. Anybody else, committee member with an item that is not on the agenda? Corin Whittle?
We are hosting our growers workshop December 2nd from 10 a.m. to 12:30 at the Half Moon Bay Library. We're gonna offer 2 hours of continuing education. And so it'll include laws and regs and Cal School Notify and also the county's composting program. We hope to see you there. And then I've said this before, but Mediterranean fruit fly quarantine is expanding in Santa Clara County. They have found over 80 adult medflies in this area, 3 larval properties. So it's definitely established in there. They're continuing to do sterile medfly drops over it's really based kind of in San Jose, but they have found it expanding throughout that area, through that whole valley. And then the county's minimum wage is increasing to $17.95 on January 1st. And that's for unincorporated San Mateo County. And as many of you know, the sheriff recruitment is going on. There's a meeting being held right now. And then also another meeting will be held to appoint the new sheriff on Wednesday morning. Farm Worker Advisory Committee is meeting for this week has been canceled. If anyone was planning on going. And lastly, high path avian influenza is back on the rise again with the wild bird migration. So anybody that has birds, continue doing your biosecurity tactics to try to keep your flock safe. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Any other committee member with an item not on the agenda? The chair recognizes Peter Markey.
Peter Markey, I just want to say, kind of echo on what Bridget has said, is that when the Markey Guard first came, it was for gathering information only, and then when it came for us, it was towards the end of the
I have that correct.
our meeting. So I was surprised not to see it on our agenda. So we are not able to make any comment on it one way or other. I felt it was really important to come across our committee before it goes straight to the county.
Thank you. I do have something. I have 3 items, actually. One is, I would like to make a correction. San Mateo County Planning staff sent a memo to the Ag Advisory Committee on November 5th, 2025, regarding PLN 2023-00112, which is the Markey Guard property. In paragraph, or the Markey Guard, I'm sorry, he leases Markey Guard project. In paragraph 2 of the memo, it stated the project was presented to AAC twice during its meetings on January 13th, 2025 and October 20th, 2025, and continued without motion. That sentence should be replaced. That was an incomplete presentation to the AAC committee on the January meeting. Upon reviewing the recording of the January 13th AAC meeting, at 1910, the planner, Ms. Agarwal, stated the project brought to AAC is incomplete. It's still under review with geotech and environmental health. At 1930 hours, the liaison stated, we are still gathering information. This project is still being processed. It was brought to this meeting just to gather information. It's not complete. This is just for gathering information, not for getting a recommendation, which I appreciate. And I think we all appreciate them clarifying it at the time. However, that is in fact what occurred, and we never then received the presentation because we never received it in its full. The committee member, James Oku, moved that the project come back to us when it is complete so we can review it correctly, as we try to do with all projects. Crystal Shea seconded, and it was unanimously passed. And unfortunately, as it was noted in the memo, that we ran out of time at the October meeting. However, there was just the first paragraph that was given at the October meeting. So of course it was not presented then. And in the January meeting, it was not presented because as it came to be and the planner and liaison stated, it was given and brought to us incomplete. So we never did get to actually have it presented to us. And I share with what Bridget said, and is on my write-up here, that I think it's disrespectful to us as a committee to be in a situation where we're told our job is to be able to receive information and make informed decisions, and we don't get the information, and when we don't, and it's pulled from us being able to at all. Second item, I do have some good news. Received a lovely email from Alejandro Segura, Housing and Community Development Specialist from the Department of Housing. I think you guys remember that he was here and presented with his boss, his supervisor. Anyway, in his email, it was sent to me on November 3rd. I'm going to read it to you because I did make some changes based on the input that we gave them. And I gave them accolades and thanked him profusely for listening to our input and making those changes. He said, "Good morning, Natalie. I hope you're doing well. I am reaching out today because we wanted to inform you about recent changes to the county's farm labor housing loan program based on community feedback. We plan on providing a brief presentation to update the Agriculture Advisory Committee next month, but wanted to share the updates directly with you. The program changes are outlined below, but for a high-level review, please refer to the program guidelines found on the department's website. So the two items that he bullet pointed was increase the per property max loan amount to 150,000 single unit and 250,000 for multiple units for phase one. And then the second bullet point was decrease the allowable loan term to a minimum of 20 years and no more than 30 years, allow partial prepayment of the loan on an annual basis, but in no case can the loan principal and term decrease by more than 50% and align all loan restrictions with the term loan. And he responded with an email thanking us again, and I thanked him for being so receptive to us, and he looks forward to coming and presenting to us. So there were some changes. They weren't everything that we had asked or given input on, but he certainly worked with us, and I think he compromised, and I'm sure he'll address why and the reasons. And I think it was really, it was a joy. I told him it was a joy to work with him and the supervisor. And then the third thing is that I want to thank Olivia Boo for, I noticed about Ed Diaz not being on the agenda, and it was quite concerning because the reason that we wanted them to come to the next meeting is because it was our understanding that those regs went into effect in December. And that's when the woman who's the director of environmental health very nicely asked Ed if he would do it in her stead because she couldn't be here. And he said yes. Anyway, so when I saw it not on the agenda, it was quite concerning to me because we're on a timeline and they were willing to do it. And I wanted to thank Olivia Boo because I sent her an email about that. And so she went ahead and put it back on tonight's agenda. And that's the revised agenda item that was sent to us later. And those are only 3 items I have. So next. Planning and Building Directors, Department Directors Report, Robbie Miller.
Yes, hi, everyone. So for the time period between October 1st and October 28th, there were no planned agricultural district permits heard or considered by the Board of Supervisors or the Planning Commission. There was also no planned agricultural district permits or coastal development exemptions submitted to Planning Division. And the next meeting is on December 8th.
Thank you. So the next item is number 6, consent agenda item that has been moved to the regular agenda item. And that would be for the owner applicant Kevin Palmer, PLN 2025-00273.
Actually, sorry, Natalie, we're gonna move that, that's gonna go after, we're moving that to regular agenda. So we'll go to item number 7, Debbie
Oh.
Fector.
Okay, so item number 6 is what?
Nothing.
I thought,
Let's make it now.
yeah,
There already is consent agenda.
well, I thought she, well, what is she speaking about? She's not on the, she's not on the agenda.
She wants it to be a regular. agenda.
What's the item that you were speaking about?
Number
with
6.
The, is it number 6, the PLN 2025-00273?
It would be item.
No,
Okay, so she's speaking to item number 6, which is the Palmer's property. So we're gonna let the Palmers do their presentation first and then let the public comment.
Didn't she just say we're moving it to the end?
Did you want to make
Correct.
that?
Correct. We'll move it to
Okay.
after number 8.
Okay, so we will skip it and put it on 8. All right, thank you, that's.
I wrote it here now.
Let's,
Yeah,
We'll get through it all.
okay.
let's just go.
So number 1, so next one, we're gonna move to 7. Committee survey results on committee functioning and, oh, so we're doing this stuff before planning projects.
Correct.
I thought planning projects took precedent. Is it possible that a committee member can move to do the planning projects first? Because I think they align with the county's thinking that they should come first.
We need to get through all of these items.
Okay, so number 7, committee survey results on committee functioning and effectiveness. Presenter Debbie Schechter, Schechter Consulting.
Hey, everybody.
So I was here last month and I presented the results of the survey that you all participated in about how the committee functions and how it can be more effective. Olivia, do you have that presentation?
Yes, one moment. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so the idea from last month was really just to give you a heads up, and today we wanted to allow some time for discussion and any sort of reactions from you all, and then talk about next steps. So I'm not gonna go through the whole presentation again, I just wanted to highlight a couple of the summary slides. If you could put up the second slide, please, Olivia.
Am I sharing the correct screen? I don't think I am.
Yeah.
Oh, I am? It's the
demo, but
slides?
That's okay, yeah, that's all right.
You're seeing your presentation?
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Could you go to the second page, please? Okay, so these were the overall themes. I'm not sure if you can see it. That you all wanted to promote and support agriculture in the county, serve stakeholders and be useful. Another key theme was the need for clarifying the role of the committee. Another theme was that there's a need to improve meeting processes and training and meeting effectiveness, both for county staff and, I'm sorry, I said commission, that was meant to be committee members. And then a need for collaboration and respect among the county, the committee, and stakeholders. And I think we're seeing all of these themes play out in tonight's meeting as well as the meeting in October. But I wanted to, and I also want to say that in my discussions with county staff, they also agree with you all. So it was only the committee that was surveyed. But in my follow-up conversations with county staff, they agree that these are all key issues for the committee. And if we address them, they could increase how the effectiveness of the committee and the effectiveness of the committee and the county working together. So I'm not going to go through that, but any reactions to those overall themes? Yeah, is that okay? So, well, Olivia, if you could go down to slide 11, which is question 7. Yeah. So again, this is the key responses to this question about what can be done to improve the effectiveness of the AAC. Again, clarify the role, how it relates to county policy development and project improvement, project approval, and what the county is looking for from the AAC. Again, training on meeting rules and effectiveness, relevant laws. The county, the AAC, and other stakeholders should collaborate, listen to, and respect each other. And that the county should provide relevant information and responses to the AAC about agendized projects. Is that?
Yeah.
Seem to capture what we all said? Okay. So next slide, please. So this was specifically about meetings and what can be done to improve them. Focused meeting structure and agendas that are followed. Again, training on conducting effective meetings. Standard for how the meetings are held. So I myself have observed that it can get complicated having a hybrid meeting. And then you all want to be asked for your input on policy issues that affect agriculture. So again, this gets to the role issue. Any reactions, comments? Okay, next slide, please. And then this question was about how the AAC and the county can best work together. So improve communication and respect among all the parties. Again, clarify the role and impact and improve the effectiveness of the committee's input. And there's obviously details in there.
Any comments, reactions to this? Okay, and the last slide had to do with your priorities. Which is important to recognize, as we're looking at how you all can be most effective. So, I met with some of the county staff and reviewed this information with them and came up with some, together we came up with some ideas for how we can help the committee and the county work better together. One thing is actually the next item on the agenda. So, as I mentioned, I've observed and you all have commented on inconsistent meeting procedures or meeting procedures that may not be effective. And so Sophie from the county is going to speak on some of the issues that have come up over the last couple of meetings around meeting procedures. And this is, directly in response to your all's input. Another thing that we are proposing, so that leaves kind of the big issues of clarifying the role of the AAC, which the county has agreed that's something that needs to happen. And then figuring out how the county and the AAC can work better together in terms of collaboration and respect. And what I would like to propose is that, or what I've discussed with the county and they have agreed, that would be a good idea is to have a special meeting of the committee to talk about some of those issues. So not agenda items, but really for the county and the AAC to have a set session where you really talk about the role, get some clarity on what the role is so that everybody understands it and you can perform it more effectively. And then the other thing is how the county and the committee can better collaborate and can together be more respectful of each other. I heard that word come up a couple times today and even at last month's meeting. I think that county staff want to feel respected and you all want to feel respected by the county. And so I think that a special session together to work on that is something that might help. So in talking with the county, I know you all have a meeting in December. They've proposed maybe the week before your December meeting or the week after the December meeting, they have a special meeting to talk about these ideas. So wanted to get input and see if either of those dates might work for you all. So, yeah.
A week before will be Farm Bureau meeting.
Okay, so that would.
Oh, yeah, that's right, it's canceled.
So it would be December 1st. Yeah, and then the other option was the 15th. But if there's some other day in the near future, like in December, that would work for you all.
I can do the first.
Yeah, I guess the first works since Farm Bureau is canceled.
Is it possible to do January, as you mentioned? I personally can't make it in December.
Yeah. There's a lot, yeah.
But it's at night, no.
No, not.
I'm pretty
during-
busy too, but not. quite
It's,
as-
it's our harvest time for the entire year.
When is
And
the
I don't. it's
committee
okay,
meeting
you
in
can go ahead.
January?
Well,
Let me check. I can check on that. I think it's, yeah, January.
January 12th.
January 12th, so then maybe the week before that.
That's Farm Bureau meeting.
Okay,
First
Is Monday night the only night it could be done?
no? No,
Perhaps that might help to make it that week before, but on a different night. Whatever's good for everyone else, fine. Okay.
I wonder what, I don't want to take too much time in this meeting narrowing down on the date. Is that something that could be sent out to the committee with a quick survey about like, if we put a couple dates out there? Yeah.
That's a great idea.
I think that might work.
And I think the idea, one of the reasons the county was looking to do this in September was to make it also, to have a meal, to provide you all with a meal and have it be kind of, holiday, a little bit of a celebration as well as working together with you all. But I understand if that, if that doesn't work and January is better.
That's so nice. Yeah, that's nice. And it will feel more friendly.
Yeah, the other idea would be to have it in a different location than this, something that is maybe a little more relaxed out of your normal. Any other comments, questions, suggestions?
Yeah, I got one.
Mhm.
You use the word respect quite a bit.
Mhm.
In my experience working with the county, I have experienced many times of them saying one thing and doing something different. And in a lot of different cases. And so I just want to put it out there. I feel the county officials are supposed to set the precedent and not go the way I just mentioned. And I experienced many, many times, not necessarily talking specifically at this meeting, but on a lot of other things. And I experienced them strong armed, pushing their weight around. And you speak of respect. Respect also has to be shown on the top level first.
For sure. Yeah, it definitely goes both ways. So the idea would be getting it would be you all and county staff together to talk about how we can improve it. Yeah.
So, right, as of right now, we'll just wait for a survey to come out with some dates possible.
Yeah, Olivia, is that okay with you, or do you want us to try to?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, and it sounds like maybe that first week in January is what we would be looking at.
I would
What I'm hearing.
have the poll go into December too, like January's not good for me.
Oh,
Have
okay.
a bunch of dates.
Okay, and would you all generally, so what I'm thinking is a little bit longer than your normal session? So maybe 3 hours with a meal. You all, I'm assuming the evening is best, that you don't want to do it on a weekend, but that's something that, we could consider as well. Any,
Make it work.
I think that,
Yeah.
I think send out a thing.
Okay.
Weeknights.
nice, okay. All right, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much. And as I said at the last meeting, and I'll reiterate, you are a joy to work with. I really enjoyed your phone calls and reaching out to people that isn't the ability to do the online stuff. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And I know I'm saying it again, but a little good stuff doesn't hurt to say twice. Next on the agenda is, thank you, my dear. Okay, thanks. AAC procedures, presenters Brian Pettit, County Counsel, and Sophie Mincher, Assistant Director of Planning and Building.
And sorry, clarification, Sophie will be presenting. Brian is available for questions or clarity.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Olivia. Good evening, everyone.
I was just curious if this presentation will be available on the AAC site.
Yes. So good evening, everyone. Nice to meet you. For those I haven't met before, again, I'm Sophie Mateo. I'm the Assistant Director of Planning and Building. And as Debbie said, what I'll be doing tonight is touching on meeting procedures. This was one of the things that came up as a need from the recent survey you took. Our interest is really in setting the foundation for a really productive and effective partnership between the AAC and county staff, so that the AAC can be as effective as members want it to be. And we're also interested in aligning the AAC meeting procedures with how other county boards and commissions are run. So that's what this presentation is about. It addresses some recent questions that have come up in a couple prior meetings. And as Debbie said, some of the larger topics around roles and responsibilities of the AAC, you'll have more opportunity to dive into at an upcoming retreat. And again, Brian Pettit is also here for any legal questions. Next slide, Olivia. So two changes that we are doing to try and help clarify meeting procedures is future agendas are going to list each of the steps that need to occur for every agenda item. So for instance, presentation, then it goes to clarifying questions from the committee, public comment, then committee discussion. And then if it's an item that needs a recommendation, that goes to a motion and a vote. So just clarifying that, putting that on the meeting agendas we think will be helpful. Also listing the suggested times to help the chair and committee sort of follow along. Of course, sometimes meeting items take a lot longer than we anticipate, and that's okay, but just trying to establish orderly meeting procedures that way. Staff is also going forward providing a script to the chair that lays out all of these steps for the items to help clarify the procedures that we should be following so that our meetings are running according to proper procedure. Next slide. And meeting packets. So for AAC meetings, as well as for all county board and commission meetings, the current practice is for staff to prepare the meeting agendas and the supporting materials posted online and then notify members that the materials are available online. For committee members who cannot access materials online or who have a hardship doing so, the staff are providing printed and mailed packets by request. However, mailed packets going forward will include the agenda, the staff reports, and the key attachments and exhibits. It won't necessarily include the lengthy reports that are sometimes including in meeting packets that can stretch packets to several hundreds of pages. So we understand certainly some people prefer to review materials online, others prefer to see things printed out. But we want to emphasize that the county really wants to focus committee members' attention in terms of preparing for the meetings on fully reviewing the staff reports. That's the most beneficial thing to review to understand what we're asking and what we're seeking from the AAC. And the technical reports and studies that are sometimes included in meeting packets are more so for reference. So for members to consult and review as they can, as they're interested, but really the priority is on reviewing the staff reports. So again, this is consistent practice with what the county does for other boards and commissions, including the Board of Supervisors. Next slide. Could you go back to the consent agenda slide?
This one, is this correct?
One more.
Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so consent agenda is for non-controversial and routine items that are intended to be approved by a single vote without discussion. So if there are multiple items on a consent agenda, they can all be approved by a single vote. And this is to streamline meeting agendas and reserve time for where AAC input is most needed. However, as we've seen tonight, there is an opportunity for the public to comment on items on the consent agenda during the oral communication segment. And there's also an opportunity for the AAC to decide that they'd like to move an item from consent to regular agenda. That has to be done prior to a vote to approve the consent agenda items.
You say that needs to be voted on?
No, it needs to occur as it did tonight prior to the AAC voting to approve the consent agenda.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah, so the procedure tonight was correct.
Thank you.
So who decides whether it's on consent or regular agenda? Like when it's the agenda is posted?
So that is staff identifies which items they think should be on consent, and it's a mixture of how we treat certain types of items that come before the AAC but don't necessarily need discussion and input. And sometimes it's a matter of how quickly that item might need to be processed, or what other items need to be handled on an agenda.
Okay, so it's basically coming from planning and building.
Yeah. Okay. But I should say that planning and building staff are in touch with the chair ahead of committee meetings to discuss the proposed agenda, get input, and the agenda is shaped in partnership with the chair.
I have a question. So if someone from the public wants to speak on any of those items, should they have done it in public comment that was on the agenda? Or should they request in public comment that the board pull that item out of consent for them to discuss? What would you recommend? What was your?
If I'm following your question, it's yes to both of those. So if an item is on the consent, a member of the public wishes to speak on that, the time to do so is oral communications, because it's not agendized as a regular item that has its own public comment built in. So a member of the public did so, that was correct. And then the committee opted to move the item from consent to regular. All right, I think we can move to the next slide.
What would happen in a situation if the committee, because I don't think it's appropriate to say that the committee opted because we didn't vote. So what would happen if a committee member didn't want to do it? What happens then?
Oh, that's a good question. Brian, would you be able to address the question if one member of the committee wishes to move something from consent to regular, but another member of the committee wants to keep it on consent? How should that be treated?
Yes, so as presented, the committee has the ability to move things from the consent agenda onto the regular agenda. I wouldn't describe that as something that the public can direct, but can request that something get moved. This is a function of the chair's management of the meeting. And so tonight, it seemed like there was general consensus, for example, to move it to the general consent, or sorry, to the regular agenda. If someone opposes that, then you could have a discussion about it, and ultimately it's within the chair's purview how to manage the agenda. But
Okay,
someone
so
could
then
certainly make a if there's disagreement, someone could certainly make a motion to move it, and if a majority supported that, then that would be one way to resolve that issue.
But if a discussion ensued, you don't have to make a motion and vote. You can, in fact, the chair can make the decision. Is that what you're saying? Or do you always
Yes, so
make a motion?
so again, just analogizing to other bodies' procedures. Typically, if the public or someone on the committee would like there to be further deliberation, if especially if a committee member thinks that it is worthy of further deliberation, then typically it just would be moved. I suppose there could be an instance where someone resists that. I'll just be honest, I don't see that very often. If someone the difference between consent and regular is just whether there will be further discussion. The public will have an opportunity to speak on either item. So
Okay, I'll let you take the hand raise. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna
Thank you,
say, I mean,
Daniel.
just to make it clear, the whole point of the consent agenda is there's no discussion.
Right.
Well, that, yeah.
So if anyone wants to discuss it, in the sense, it gets moved to general.
Right.
That's.
But that
But it's not-
automatically gets moved. But what if somebody doesn't want to do that? Like if there's a committee member says no, or as has happened in the past, the liaison is concerned about the time issue because there's so many things on the agenda, which of course is a valid concern, and I respect that.
So,
What do you think? Marilyn? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
so should we ask so for example, a woman tonight, someone from the public requested it be moved to the consent, to the regular agenda. Are we allowed to discuss it, or does it automatically go to the general agenda? Or could we say, no, we're just gonna keep it on?
Yeah. So again, this is really a function of the meeting management and the chair really controls that process. I think the way this would normally look is if a member of the public is speaking on the consent agenda and said, I wish you, the committee, would take a closer look at this. At that point, I think normally what it would look like is the chair would say, we've had a request to move this to the regular agenda. I'm inclined to do that. Does anyone oppose? And if no one speaks up to oppose, then it would be moved to the regular agenda through the chair's prerogative. If there's disagreement, then you can discuss not the item, but whether it should be moved, and that might result in a motion one way or the other. But I think typically the way it would work is if a member of the public requests it, the chair would just say, "We've received a request. I'm inclined to grant it." And then if there's no disagreement, it would be moved, which is how I understood the item tonight to be moved.
Why was the item 6 on the agenda in the beginning?
Because it's repeat.
Because it's a renewal.
Because it's a reno.
There's no changes.
There's no
From
changes.
last.
Yeah,
Okay,
like that.
yeah.
Okay, so for items that are not on the agenda, we've already discussed some of this. So for members of the public, their opportunity to comment on items not on the agenda is during oral communications, as we've seen this evening. And the committee cannot deliberate in response to public comment. For AAC members, of course, the time to do that is during committee member updates, which we also saw earlier this evening. And it's really important. It's really important that if a committee wishes to deliberate, that the item be agendized to a future meeting. So I'm not talking about if it's an item on consent, but if it's an item that's not anywhere on the agenda and the committee is interested in deliberating, then that has to be taken to a future meeting and appear on a future meeting's agenda in order for the committee to discuss. And if I could just
Yeah.
finish and then I can
Okay, you
take your
let me
question.
know.
And so to avoid Brown Act violations, it's really important to avoid discussing projects that are not agendized. However, there are a couple. Could you go over to the items not on the agenda slide, Olivia?
Is that the next one? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So there are a couple of limited circumstances in which members can speak to these items that are not agendized. So a brief response to statements or questions. They can ask for clarification if they weren't sure, say, what a member of the public meant by their public comments. They can refer to staff for information or to report back on a question at a future meeting. And they can direct staff to place the matter on a future agenda. Natalie, did you have a question?
Yeah, it was just about what you had said earlier. Would you prefer though that we wait till the end for the questions, or is it okay that we're asking you in the middle?
This is okay. I just have a couple more slides, so go ahead.
Okay, so my question was just to something you said about agendizing things. At the last meeting, we had a motion on the floor to agendize different ways to figure out how to retain information and brainstorm, since the county has said that they're not going to send us the packets anymore. And at the time, up until last meeting, actually for several months, and I have the data, it wasn't even digital on the on there. So it was difficult to retain 200, 300 plus pages of each project at a meeting, and you had nowhere to look at it when you couldn't print it out because you didn't have a printer or you didn't have access to printer, or like the costs that I said of printing out items were sometimes up to $64 a meeting if you had to send them to the UPS store. So I was talking about that the last meeting, and we had a motion on the floor from the committee member to agendize that so we could talk about the next meeting, so we could brainstorm, so we could, even though we had a breadcrumb, try to make a meal out of it, so to speak. But that's a good analogy or not. But the point is, and then it was passed unanimously, but then it was not put on the agenda. So what are the procedural rules with that? Because we're being told by the county, yes, this is how you do it. This is what you do. So when we do exactly what we're told, when we want to talk about respect, we are then wholly disrespected because what we do exactly to make it happen is thrown back in our face and we're told, no, it's not going to happen. Much like a child, if you say, if you do your homework, you're going to get to go to the Giants ball game, and they do all their homework, and then you're like, oh, no, not happening. So isn't there procedural rules under Robert's Rule of Law or something like that, that we could ask county council, or if you know yourself, because that kind of stuff, when we talk about respect, it's not just what's said, or it's not just if we're in a position we have to defend ourselves, which had occurred the last meeting for various reasons. It's what is done, it's the actions. And that's concerning. So what is the
So
procedure
if
for
I
that?
can, so the committee voted to agendize that, that's included in my presentation. I shared, here's what the county does countywide. Here's what we do if someone has a hardship and they request accommodations. We provide printed packets to them and mail them out in advance. Again, we are not expecting committee members to read several hundred pages and retain it all necessarily. The focus is really digest the staff reports to feel prepared for the meetings. We can certainly, and so this is partially our effort to agendize this for the group, and the group has an opportunity to comment more on, you know, what I shared there, and at the end of my presentation, you're welcome to do so.
And procedurally, because when something's agendized procedurally, then you're allowed to discuss it. But you're saying we're still allowed to discuss this as a
Well,
presentation.
it's part of it's part of the presentation. So we're not asking for a vote this evening on this agenda item.
Okay, so we might need to agendize it just later, and we might need to agendize it for the next meeting in the sense that, so we can brainstorm and vote as a committee of different ways that we can be productive and to help with the situation. That's going to be the situation. But thank you for that for now.
One of the things I noticed not on the list was just news for the community. Is it okay for committee member updates to give news?
So I think that the time to do that is committee member updates. And
Yes, that's what I was.
yeah, so I think, you know, a member of the committee could provide a quick news update during that.
I just want to clarify since it's not on the list.
Yeah. Okay, if we can move on to the next slide, I'm almost through here. Okay, so hybrid meetings, I know there was a discussion a couple months back with some members of the committee wishing to end hybrid meetings and go to fully in person. Certainly completely understand hybrid meetings are more complex than fully in-person meetings or fully remote meetings. But we are going to continue to offer hybrid meetings in part to give members of the public flexibility on how they participate. Committee members are participating in person, which we think is extremely beneficial. We really appreciate committee's time in sort of showing up in person because we think that makes for a better meeting. But we know it's in order to have an effective hybrid meeting, we really need to help with some of the staffing. So county is we're gonna ensure we have adequate staff support for helping with the meeting facilitation, which our AAC liaison does, monitoring of remote participants, helping if any technical issues arise, and preparing meeting minutes.
Who will be preparing the meeting minutes? Because we haven't had them for ages.
So meeting minutes are drafted by the staff liaison typically.
So, so it's in stone that we're going to continue hybrid meetings.
We have made a management decision to continue hybrid meetings, and part of the reason for that is because it's consistent with what we do for other boards and commissions, which is to have the members of the committee or the board in person, but to have a hybrid option so that there are ways for members of the public to participate other than being in the room.
You want to go in?
Will they be recorded and posted online?
The meetings?
Yeah,
They are recorded and posted now.
okay.
Yeah.
Just wondering if that was the standard for all meetings.
That they're recorded and
Yeah.
posted online.
Because I see this engagement part with the community as a very important part, but I don't know that the recording is necessary, basically, for that ultimate goal.
Okay.
That's just my thought.
Is there a concern with the recording?
A little bit, yeah, there's a lot of content out there online. I just don't know that is it necessary for this meeting?
Yeah, I just want to make a quick statement. In the past, in our meetings, in years past, decades, that we had a county representative that was here, present here, and we had some really good county representatives that helped guide us through the meetings and all this here. That really knew what they were doing in the past.
In the past, I think what he's trying to say, tell me if I'm wrong, but is that in the past, we were able to ask, is this the way that we should do it procedurally? And then we were given the correct answer. Whereas now we could be within the meeting and get two different answers for the same question within that same meeting. And obviously only one is right and one is wrong. And it's quite frustrating.
I know I've requested that staff be present and physically present. Is that, I don't see it up there. If it will happen or,
So we do have staff present almost always. We've had one person online for the last several months and one person in person. We do think it is important. Ideally, I think we have the staff liaison in person, but there's, you know, our staff live all over. Most of our staff do not live in the county, and so sometimes we can have challenges coming to a night meeting on the coast. It can be difficult to arrange for that. So we understand the request for that, completely understand. We are doing our best to provide adequate staff support for this committee. It will be an ongoing thing. And in terms of staff who are providing presentations, like presenting items to the group, we do think it's important that there is a remote option for that as well. Again, if staff are able to deliver their presentations in person, we think that's great. But sometimes, you know, we have a staff who's the assigned project planner who lives several counties away, and it's just not feasible for them to be in person.
it's always, in decades past, I sat on this committee for 16 years. And we've always had in person, in a room full of people. The public was here. There was nothing, no Zoom, no online since COVID. It seems like that's the new norm. And it's really hard. It's difficult. It's much more difficult to hear somebody look at somebody on a screen and not in person and explain things. It was much more helpful when the guys from the mushroom farm came and was able to explain things in person. That's just my personal thought from years in the past. So I would love to see that happen again. That's my wish.
To the point, I have 2 points. To the point of the hybrid meetings that you're talking about, I think that if the county feels that this is what they're gonna do, and you know, that's just it. I think one of the things is to be conscious of the fact that things that you're seeing on tape are not necessarily what's happening in real life. And so if you guys intend to do meetings over Zoom and what have you, please be conscious, because I watched several meetings recently pulling things up for data, and a lot of this area is not picked up at all or barely. Things recently from the last meeting were misinterpreted, whereas the person, had they been here, would have seen why those things occurred. It is, if in fact that's your choice to do hybrid meetings, so I'm just asking you to be conscious of the fact that if we don't see, like the liaison, we might call her name repeatedly to get her attention, because we don't know if she's still online. Other little things that somebody says something here, but you didn't pick that up, which maybe you're just picking up the other person because their voice is louder. So we need to be conscious of the fact that, okay, this is how you're doing it, but we also know this doesn't work as well as one-on-one. So just be conscious of, okay, ask, well, how come this occurred, that occurred? Because you know, if you're watching via Zoom, you don't always get the real feel of what really is happening. Number one. Number two, and that's very important, to what Corin said about the recording, I agree wholeheartedly. And what I want to say is, in watching the YouTube videos of us, what is really an issue for me, especially since I advocated at meetings for the ADA for years, your recording continues on recording us after the meeting's been adjourned. And that is now out there for the public. Once we adjourn the meeting, our discussions are personal and we talk amongst ourselves.
I agree
So I'm
completely.
asking if we could read, thank you.
Yeah, I
I'm
agree
asking if we
completely
could
with
look
that,
at that and maybe go back to those and edit those and cut them off at the end of the meeting once it's adjourned.
So the recording should purely be of the meeting from
Yes.
opening to close and should not, it should be
Thank you.
edited to.
And you guys could maybe look at that and cut that off edit that, because it's still out there. You know what I mean? I know
I can take that back. We can discuss that. And
thank you.
I think I would suggest that maybe there is something, this is something that we dive into further in the retreat, if there's time for it, because there's a lot of feedback on the meeting recordings and hybrid participation. So perhaps we can include that in the retreat topics.
So maybe this is something to bring up at our special private meeting about the hybrid, because I think we all have our own ideas and opinions. A lot of the projects that are brought in front of us to make a decision are sensitive, but important. And between the applicant and all the work that they've put into it and the fees that they have to pay, I feel like you guys not showing up to help present their project is doing a disservice to them, because it's not giving everybody, whether it's committee or public, the opportunity to ask the appropriate questions. So my opinion is that it would be very important for you guys to be present, especially if you're not going to give the committee all of the backing information in the mail anymore as an option. But maybe we just talked about that at the special meeting, but I disagree with hybrid meetings. I think you guys having that option should be off the table. If public members want to, that's on them. But for a county employee, you guys are getting paid. We're not.
Okay,
So
if I can just clarify, I think that sounds like an important clarification you've made, that you're okay perhaps with the hybrid option for members of the public, but that staff having the option
absolutely
is, is something.
it should not be an option.
So, sorry, I lost my place. I'd like to wrap up my last slide and then any other questions, and then we can move to public comment. Can you go to the final slide, please? Okay, so just a couple miscellaneous items. So process for reconsidering the vote. This came up last month. And so we want to clarify that once a motion passes, the committee needs to cease deliberations on that motion and then move on to the next item. There's not a process for a member to individually change their vote after they've already cast their vote and the motion has concluded. So a member could bring a motion to reconsider the earlier motion that passed. If they did that, that would be taken up after any other pending business is handled. The motion to reconsider would have to be seconded and approved by a majority of the body. And then if that motion passes, the earlier vote would be set aside and the body would proceed to reconsider the motion as though that earlier vote did not occur. So the chair can call for further discussion, or they can simply call a new vote on the motion and each member would vote again. However, we want to caution that this should not be done if the vote will change the outcome of a motion if interested parties have left the meeting. In that case, the motion to reconsider could be approved, but the item should be continued to a future meeting to ensure public participation requirements are met. And then finally, there was also a question last month about meetings ending sharply at 8. Meetings are set from 6 to 8. We want to respect AAC members' time by not having meetings that go late into the night. However, it is okay for meetings to go past 8. If the committee is in the middle of an item, it can go on a bit longer, but the hard stop has to be by 8:30 because that's when staff of the center need to close.
So go ahead.
Yeah, quick question. We had in the past where a member would make a motion and then somebody else would second it and then go to vote, go to a discussion, and then the person that made the vote rescinded the motion.
So you can rescind motions.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before a
the
vote, yes.
right.
My question was on bullet point 2 members could motion to reconsider once all other business is handled. Is it you make the motion to reconsider after all the business is handled, or you make the motion to reconsider and then talk about it after all business has been handled?
Brian, could you
Yes.
address that?
Yeah. So what that bullet point is meant to emphasize is if the committee is in the middle of another item, if you've moved on to the next item, and in the course of that item, someone says, "Oh, you know what? I've reconsidered. I think we need to go. I'd like to bring a motion to reconsider what we've already dealt with." That bullet is meant to emphasize that the committee finishes the pending item. So the business that it's in the middle of, you would conclude that and then have an opportunity to take up a motion to reconsider at that point. It doesn't interrupt the item that you're in the middle of.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, it's really about, okay, the meeting's running past 8 o'clock. So if prior to the last meeting, we were told that it has to be 8 o'clock, the city needs the room, 8 o'clock for sure, and we were told time repeatedly as it got to 8 o'clock. And that was our understanding to stop. Anyway, but last meeting, we were not just asked, but basically we were, by the planner that was here, we were just treated horribly because we didn't continue past 8 o'clock. And we had been told up until that point to always end right at 8 o'clock. So, and because of that too, committee members had places they had to go, or they had sick family members or what have you, because that's what we were told was to occur. And we wanted to follow what we were told. So one of the committee members made a motion to end the meeting, and there was a second, and everybody voted to end it. So if that happens, then that should be honored, correct? Because I certainly
so
feel
if
like
you're-
I'm supposed to honor it. I mean, we can't.
You're
hold
saying
people
if you're
hostage.
coming up on 8 o'clock or if it's past 8 o'clock and somebody.
And
motions
everybody
that the
wants to end the meeting, and so people are talking about it as they were,
I think
and there's a vote.
that seems appropriate to me
Yes.
because that is coming up on the stated end time of the meeting. What
Yes.
we've done is clarified with the staff here at the center, is it okay if meetings run a bit longer than 8 o'clock? We've gotten that clarification in last month, so we're just passing that on so that, you can finish out an item that maybe just needs a
That's
little bit
good
more
to know.
discussion.
I just want to be respectful of everybody here that drives in for a while, South Coast, what have you. And so when I have the whole committee looking at me going, oh my God, we're supposed to end at 8 and end it, and they move to do it, like Crystal said, we're not getting paid. Not that that's the most important thing in the world, but we're not. We work hard. If we've always been told 8, I want to be respectful of them. If they say if they move and make a motion for that, I don't want what happened to us at the last meeting where we were basically trying to be coerced into doing something.
So again, the meetings can run a little beyond 8, but in scheduling meetings and selecting items that go on meeting agendas, what staff will be mindful of can this be handled in a 2-hour meeting? Because we don't want to keep you here for 3-4 hours because we put too many items on the agenda.
Thank you.
Yeah, the last month's meeting, the item went past 8, and we made a motion to continue it to next meeting to be on the agenda, and it didn't make it on the agenda.
So there was a memo that went out to the committee addressing that on November 5th.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
There was, I said, I'm gonna repeat it.
I'm sorry. I
Last,
didn't hear.
last meeting, it went past 8, it went about 8:20. We made a motion to, end the meeting and have the item go on to the, next meeting because we knew that it would have went on for over an hour. But anyways, we carried it on to the next meeting to be on the agenda, and it didn't make it on the agenda. She said there was a memo that went out.
Yeah, the memo went out, and again, it goes to the difficulty with the fact that people don't have access to computers, which in this business, many people don't. So you probably didn't see it, and then the second part of it is, that what the public member and 2 public members and myself mentioned, the fact that it's that we were never then presented it because of what had taken place at the January meeting, other than, so that's why it didn't. Yeah, so anyway, it's not, we were told it's not gonna come before us now at all. And I'll give you a copy of that memo.
All right, so yes.
Well, I'll just make a comment. In the past, we didn't have a time constraint. So we would address all of the items on the agenda with applicants and staff members, and staff was present, and if it's the building that is requiring us to vacate by around 8:30, does it seem, I don't know what anybody else thinks on the committee, we've not discussed this yet, but to move it to another facility, maybe, it's not ADA
Ray
compliant.
Mueller's office.
I was thinking maybe Ray Mueller's office, but maybe that's something to talk about at the retreat.
Then we don't have to worry about the time constraint, if that's, but I mean, there may be.
As a committee, that's just me personally.
I wanted her to call me. Sorry.
Good. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to not to take into consideration time constraint.
So I think in terms of keeping the meetings efficient overall, I think we're an hour and 15 so minutes in tonight, so probably mostly the entire procedures and we have 5 minutes to do. I appreciate the presentation because I think it kind of gives guidelines of the primary rules. I think for the purposes of our discussion internally, since we are going to have the meeting coming up in December or January, I reckon it's a longer meeting. It's probably a bit of a different format. I recommend that we probably table this discussion until then, so we can have a more productive meeting at that point in time.
Yes.
Because right now I feel like it's kind of going in circles a little bit.
Yes.
In terms of any guidelines that would be particularly relevant to keeping us, on track for this meeting, the next couple meetings until we do have that meeting, that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
And then maybe having a wider conversation.
It's what I covered in the
Yeah,
presentation. The presentation will be available to all AEC members. And yeah, that's the end of my presentation. I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you for your comments, and more to discuss clearly in the upcoming retreat.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So next is
I thought we were at 8.
so is Mr. Diaz here?
Oh, 8B, number 6. Oh, wait.
Oh, we're going back to 6.
My notes said that.
Olivia, as a liaison, can you help me out, please? Or did you want to, are we going back to 6 now? Sorry, it's hard to change it.
Madam Chair, before you move on, this is Brian Pettit. Could I interject before you move on to your next item?
Yeah. Oh.
Please do.
Yes, that's
Please do.
another good example. of
Okay,
this.
great. I just appreciated that conversation. I just wanted to let you know. I am available. I gave the Brown Act meeting a few months ago. I'm happy to participate in this retreat process as much as you need me to. I'm happy to provide presentations or trainings or summaries to this committee on the rules that apply. So I can just go over your procedural rules. I'm happy to help with meeting management and the what we've all learned are the Sturgis rules of parliamentary procedure. So I'm happy to participate in that process, and I just wanted to let you know. And so thanks for having me tonight.
We go to 9 and we go back to 6.
Can somebody please tell me what item they would like me to do next since it's been changed, please? Thank you.
Sorry, one moment. I need to, my agenda got closed up. We're going to environment,
Are we doing number 9?
Previously, she said.
Hello.
Are we going back to 6?
Yeah, it was 8B.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes. Did we want to do this before? She said she wants to do this before the planning.
correct. And we're running late, but he's been, Ed Diaz knows he has 15 minutes.
Okay, go ahead, Ed. Thank you for being here, by the way.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ag Advisory Committee. Just a brief reintroduction to myself. I'm Ed Diaz. I am the program supervisor for the Land Use and Water Protection Program. I was invited here tonight to give a brief update to a question that was asked by one of the committee members surrounding the fee extension relief, if there was any additional funding for the fee extension relief that was presented in last month's meeting. Just to recall that for the Farm Labor Housing Water Systems Program, we were looking at not collecting fees through June of 2027. And so one of the committee members had asked if there was any subsidies that would be available or anything that would extend that. We did bring it up to our county leadership, and currently we are still waiting on an answer from them. So I don't have anything else to report other than that. So if there's any questions that you may have that Heather Forshee, our director, had presented last month, I can answer that this evening.
I think at the closure of the last meeting, Heather had said that she wanted input and for us to mull over things and give input at this meeting. So if it's okay with you, I'd love to have any committee members that have input on what was presented do it at this time.
Sure.
That's the reason for coming back before you. This goes into effect December 8th, correct?
Pardon?
That what you're putting into effect goes into effect December 8th, the changes to the amount of units for the water?
Yeah, that was the proposal. But again, it's, since it's still in draft form, it's still being reviewed by our county council. So it may be pushed to January.
Okay, did anybody have any input based on the presentation that Heather did last meeting? Okay, Carrie Burke.
Hi, Ed. Thank you for being here tonight. The one question was for the 1 to 4 units was whether there could be a sliding scale also, because obviously, if you only have 1 unit, I believe Cole brought that up, it would really be great if there could be a sliding scale for the one up to 4 units, which will now require those additional inspections and work. I understand you have county work, but also there is a burden to the farmer with the fewer units, but that's the majority of the farm worker housing installments that we have here. So just whether you could take a look at in your fee schedule, whether there could be a sliding scale for those lower amount of units. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Carrie.
The chair recognizes Peter Markey.
Yeah, Ed? This is
Yes.
Peter Markey. One of the things that I asked before is that they extended the pipeline to the water to the high school and to go out there, and also for in the future for the fire department to go out there, and they're going right past farms that can't get hooked up where the pipeline's right there. And it says, I don't understand, even though it was deemed for the township only, where they were able to extend it to the high school and for the future, the fire department to go out to, cut off, why the pipeline that goes right in front of farms that have farm labor houses cannot get hooked up to municipal water.
Yeah, I do recall that, but I wasn't prepared to answer that question at this time. Because the presentation was mainly for, for the water wells and farm labor housing units. I believe the water extension it involves the CSA 11, if I recall.
Yeah.
That may be a question for them.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
The
Yes,
chair
James.
recognizes James. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I was trying to get a hold of you a couple times last month and I haven't gotten a response. So if you could respond to my email, please, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, duly noted. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that worked out. It's good when that happens. Okay, so is there any other input from for Ed? Ed, thank you very, very much for being here, and give our best to the director. We really appreciated her agreeing to do the follow-up. Thank you.
Sure, and thank you for inviting me.
So next, number 6.
Check.
Is that correct? Yeah. We are.
It's gonna be I think it's supposed to go to the bottom.
It is 6 next, Olivia.
Let me double check here. Yes.
Okay, so number 6, which is now an agendized item, Kevin Palmer, file number PLN 325-0003, location 321 Brady Road, unincorporated San Gregorio, assessors parcel number, the APN is 066-321-70. Yep.
Through the
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, through the chair, if I may just provide a brief overview.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were there. Yes, of course.
Thank you. Sorry, I'll introduce myself. Summer Burleson, project planner with San Mateo County Planning and Building. I'm just going to provide a very brief overview, and then I think I saw Kevin Palmer pop up, so he's obviously here as well, and I believe there's a member of the public that wishes to speak, so I'll be brief here, but I did just want to show okay, so just can everyone see that?
Oh, nice. Yes.
Okay, so as you stated, this is the owner applicant is Kevin Palmer, and this is for a consideration of an agritourism event permit for up to 12 private farm ranch events on a 43-acre parcel located at 321 Verde Road in San Gregorio. It's referred to as Long Branch Saloon and Farms. And this is the project site. It's on the east side of Cabrillo Highway off of Verde Road. As you travel back, you run into the property here that's highlighted. And as I mentioned, it's for up to 12 private farm ranch events throughout the duration of a 1-year period. The property supports educational farm tours for schools and private nonprofit events and family friend private gatherings. The property also supports relative to agricultural activities, flower crops and fruit orchards, and tree crops and horse breeding, which would continue to be supported on the property. And with regards to agritourism guidelines that are set forth, the focus is on, whether the events interfere with agricultural use of the land, and whether there's adequate parking and accommodations that can be provided for agritourism events. And so the property does have is able to accommodate up to 300 vehicles on the property. However, some of the events do rely on shuttles or buses versus individual people driving to the site. And the events have been covered under an agritourism permit since at least going back to 2017. No changes or land disturbance is proposed with this current year's application. And this is just a site plan that was included in the staff report that shows the property. Sorry, I know that there's a lot going on, but shows kind of areas of ag activities and then areas towards the front of Verde Road that have support development and the agritourism events. And then questions for the Ag Advisory Committee that are, these are just what are cited in the report. To the AAC is the for your consideration is the agritourism use compatible with the long-term agricultural uses of the land? Will the agritourism operation have any adverse effect on surrounding agricultural uses? If so, can any conditions of approval be recommended to minimize any such impacts? And what decision do you recommend that the Director of Planning and Building take with respect to the application? So I'll just leave it there, and I'll pass it over if Kevin Palmer had anything to say or add. Thanks.
I was caught a little off guard. Normally it's just on the consent, and then I have a neighbor that has some concerns. Those concerns were addressed in a letter that I sent to the county today. I don't know if you guys got those or not. No.
I will, if I may, I will say there are 3 documents that were forwarded, I believe this afternoon, from the planning liaison to the Ag Advisory Committee. One was pertained to comments from a neighbor, a member of the public. And then one was a letter from Mr. Palmer. And then another letter, the third letter was a letter from District 3 Supervisor, Board Supervisor Mueller. It was a letter of support for the project. Those were the 3 documents that were sent over this afternoon.
Is there any way to put the documents on the screen?
Sure.
Going digital. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. I'll do that while others are
Keep
speaking.
yourself too. Good to see you up there.
I don't think I'll share the documents while others are speaking.
Okay.
No, I see.
Yeah, okay, anyway, I'm caught a little off guard. You know, I've been a pretty good neighbor. I just wish that everyone would come and talk to me before this meeting. No correspondence, no nothing. So I'm just kind of bummed out about that. We had a better relationship. We've been doing this for, I don't know, quite a few years. My daughter Cassidy's here. She's a general manager down there and runs it. A lot of you guys have been down there. You see how we operate. It's a family run operation. We do all sorts of things down there. From private home poker games I love to play, birthdays, my funeral for my father. We have tons and tons of events down there. You know, one of the rules is 12 private farm ranch events. I don't even know what that means. You know, if I have an event, does that mean that counts as one? I don't know. I've never got real good clarification about that. you can't operate a business on, only 12 events a year. It's ridiculous. So I'd sure love to work with staff to get that figured out. I have been in contact with the county and Randy Mueller's office to put me in a completely different category that has not yet been paid. So, but we're moving forward to that category, and I'm hoping, there's quite a few people similar to what I do that are stuck in this category, and we'd like to move it to another one, and that's just about staff. I'm trying to facilitate that. In all due respect, I always want to be neighborly to my neighbor. And certainly if there's any legitimate concern, certainly. All right, thank you.
Hi, the chair recognizes Peter Markey.
Yeah, I remember when Kevin came up on, in front of our board years ago, and he, gave a really good talk about how he tried to work through years with the county and try to find a category what it could fit in. And they just didn't know what to put them in. And finally, the county said, let's put you in agritourism, because you could have 12 events, 12 weddings or whatnot. And that's how this got into here. And we passed it before in the past. And I know Kevin has worked really hard with the county, how he expressed before of years ago that came in front of our committee of how he was trying to make this happen. And basically it was the county said, we're going to put you in this category to move, because they couldn't figure out what category to put them in and didn't have one at the time. And it's good to hear that they're trying to develop one for your type of needs.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that.
And then, can you talk about your, yes, you're definitely gonna get to speak after his part of it. Oh, yeah, it's definitely the way it is. Thank you. Can you talk about, oh, I lost my train of thought now. Oh, just historically, I believe that a lot of the events you do donate for ag communities, like the FFA, the 4-H, different communities like that. Can you guys talk about that a little bit? Because that is ancillary to agriculture. So I would like to, and didn't see that on there, but I'd like to encourage you to put it on there for next time. And maybe just let the community know about that in case, I think most people do, but in case people don't,
Yeah, like we had a fundraiser just the other night down there. I think we made a lot of money for FFA and 4-H. I was at the fair, loved it, made me who I am today. And we support them all the way around. And not just those guys, but a lot of other nonprofits like to come down there and help them out. No, we don't charge for everything we do. That'd be ridiculous, because we have the ability to open our doors and come in.
That grad night there.
Yeah, just half a big prom, half a big grad night. It's a real safe environment. And if you look at our call police log, 0.
Not true, I called them.
I will, well, hold on, but we need to be
So-
civil.
I'm
Finish
happy
the
to be civil,
presentation.
I'm happy to be civil,
Ma'am,
but when
please.
the lies pour out.
Okay, stop.
He's speaking first, let him finish.
Yes, stop.
You have your turn.
Stop, please. I'm not a very assertive person, but I really get bothered easily when there's not kindness. He's speaking his presentation. Once his presentation's over, then me or the vice chair, if I hand it to him, will turn to you for your part of it, okay? And you definitely will be able to speak. Okay, so I want you to be able to finish. I just want it to, as we do with all presenters, we have a discussion, whether it's to Summer or to the applicant.
Anyway, we're all about families down there. We have a lot of schools come down there. A lot of nonprofits come down there. We do what we can to help support their endeavor, whatever it is. Almost everything down there is period correct. Every time an event comes down there, it's basically a tour of the old ag equipment, machinery. We encourage people to go pick some of our apples, some of our pears, some of our lemons, use them, eat them. So it's amazing how many people come down there have not experienced any kind of agriculture whatsoever. And I feel it's my duty to show them, and it's a blast. All right, Joe, you're off.
Okay, So the chair recognizes, and can you state your name?
Wait.
I still have.
Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not done. Thank you. One of the things we're gonna have to redo the room. That's what
That's
we
right.
talked about.
Right.
That. So are all sit up
People in the
there.
back of us.
The chair recognizes, James Oku. Thank you, James. Sorry.
So one thing that this board had talked about a while ago was the rules and guidelines for agritourism. And I remember giving a recommendation to the county, but I don't particularly recall the outcome of that and if they took all of our recommendations and what the exact guidelines now stand at, if they took some or not all of it or whatever. So I was hoping I could get emailed a copy of the full regulations that they currently have. And then another comment I'd like to make is when we were going over those, there was a big discussion about like how far can we push it? How many events can we have? And one of the issues was staff saying that we can't let agritourism events be this large. So I am glad to hear that something is potentially in the works, but under the current scope of the agritourism guidelines, by law from county supposedly was that we had to maintain a certain number of events.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you, James. Apologize, I had to take that as well. But the vice chair was gonna take over. Was there anybody else that had something?
I'd like to.
The chair recognizes BJ Burns.
I just want to mention.
I just was You just recognized me, and now you're recognizing him.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was part of the overall presentation.
No, just go ahead, you make your.
BJ, if you want to be.
No, go BJ last.
I
Okay.
just want to speak.
If
on
your
it.
committee, okay, I thought that everybody speaking was just part of the overall presentation. I'm sorry, I apologize.
I think clarifying questions with your.
Peter, why don't you take it from here? Can you? My brother, the vice chair, is gonna take it from here. I have a sick child and I just got a phone call and I'll be right back.
Okay, Vice Chair recognizes Joe to speak.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much. Joe Chamberlain. I live at 501 Lucy Lane, Half Moon Bay, which is in the county, as you all know. I live behind Kevin. There are two of us that live there, the Stetlers and myself. We have one way out, and that's through this event center. If there's an emergency and his 300 guests decide to use the road, we don't get out. We just stay there. So how the fire marshal approved that is beyond me. You don't know what it's like to be trapped on a hill if there's an emergency until you've lived it. That's my number one concern. My second one is you've gotten all my emails. And the number of vehicles addresses this concern about my safety. I mean, I wouldn't ask you to wait for 300 cars to leave if your house was on fire. The other thing is, and Kevin and all of you, and I appreciate this is not an agritourism property. This is not an ag property. This is an event center. And it's being managed as an event center. There's 3 to 4 events a week, sometimes with hundreds of cars, loudspeakers that the whole valley has to listen to hour after hour. Credit to Kevin and Cassidy, they end at 10 p.m. And I thank them for that. That's wonderful. The other thing is I have spoken to Kevin about the trespass. I have had to have the sheriff up to deal with that. The other question I have is why does Kevin get to do this under this classification? And the farm across the street doesn't. The Arata farm is very strictly controlled. The Palmer farm is not. But that's my experience. I mean, he has an event, and whether you like his personality or not, that's not really the point, is it? The point is the man has a right to a living on his property. Kevin has a right, and Cassidy to a living on their property. Shouldn't the Arata farm have a right to living on their property? Under the same guidelines, or change the guidelines.
They're on a different permit, but go ahead. Errata is.
Yeah, Rada has a use permit.
Exactly, it's separate.
So
a different kind of thing.
Yeah, they have a use.
Okay, let her finish.
Go ahead.
Her time's almost up.
Go ahead.
Well, she
Go ahead,
asked,
Joe.
she said my question is.
Continue, please.
Thank you. So my question for you here this evening is, Kevin is in violation of several problems on his property that don't have to do with this. Multiple residents, transfer of water, grading permits, just a huge number of problems that he's got. Now, I'm hoping all of that is gonna be dealt with. Now, the things that he has done that specifically address this committee, as he has covered agricultural soils. Number one, with a huge horse arena, and number two, with the parking area by the farm, the barn. Both of those were in pastures when he bought that property. One is now a parking lot, one is an arena, and that's okay. But did somebody approve that, or did Kevin just do that? That's what it's like to live, not the Cassidy, bless you, but that's what it's like to live next to Kevin. Is if he wants to do something, he just does it. And then he gets mad at me when I show up and say, gosh, should you really have done that without a permit? Should you really have not given me a chance to speak at a public hearing when you're asking to do these things? And I'm not. So I say,
How much longer, Joe?
I'm actually finished, but I will just share with you and your staff. I have never been treated so rudely by a county committee or committee members as I have here tonight. And I am going to send a letter explaining my concerns. I don't think it's appropriate to run this as if it's a family organization. It's not. This is a professional committee that has impact on our community and our farmers and their right to make a living and their ability to do so. Thank you for your time.
Go ahead.
No, I appreciate the comments. I think we do need to pursue these meetings more respectfully for the rest of the board. Because this is the second meeting where we've had issues where we haven't been very just neighborly in terms of how we communicate with each other. I know that land use issues always are very complicated and there's a lot of different things going on with it. The question I have for you, it's just to try to sort of help understand more of the particular issues, is what particular things could your family do differently, specifically, that would kind of address the concerns?
Sure. So
Just kind of list it out.
and I thank you for that. I thank you for the question. For me, if the events were smaller, so I didn't feel trapped, and if there were fewer of them, 3 or 4 a week or more, it's just like I feel like I live in a parking lot. And the noise, and the people, do you want 300 people in your backyard every 3 or 4 times a week? That's the impact it has on me. Thank you for your question.
One question, I apologize, is in terms of the parking lot issue, it sounds like there's emergency access concern. Is there a workaround to that?
No, there's none. It's my properties we're in hills like this one, Rodriguez Canyon, and I live up here, and my neighbors live over here, and we have to go down. And I pray that we could have another way out of there, that I didn't need to come through the Palmer's property. I don't like having to go through their property. I don't want to go through their property. I have no choice. And that's where my easement is. When it was developed, there were 4. The Old Bell Ranch was divided into 4 parcels. I have one of them. The Palmers have another. Now, actually, the Palmers have bought the second one, so they have 2, and I'm glad they did. It was good that they got that property. And then the Stetlers. So there's 3 owners on 4 parcels. And there isn't, when it was laid out, as you're saying, it's what the county did. They said, this is the way you go in. It's a 1-lane road with turnouts. The Palmers have always kept the road open. And they've been very respectful about that. But if there's an emergency, what's going to happen? How many people down there are going to get on that road and stop me from getting to a public road? That's my concern. And because there's so many of them all the time.
I have a question for you.
So did that person.
Oh, go ahead, Crystal.
Out of curiosity, how long have you resided where you're living right now?
96 in 1996. So I was there well before the farmers.
And the other, I guess your neighbors, do they have the same issue?
Yes,
And why are
Yes.
they not there tonight?
because as Kevin said, when he walked in, he looked at me and he said, "I'm really mad at you."
So I am. I wish you would have talked to me like 3 days ago, 4 days ago, versus Aaron, your grievances right here. So,
I did. I've talked to you both many times.
There. I got a question.
Okay, go ahead.
We have to, I have to remind for a time check, please.
Okay.
10 to 8.
So my question is, you mentioned the, grading or putting something over the pastures.
Yeah.
So typically with the AAC committee, what we look at is we look at what's called prime soil. So are you aware on Kevin's property if that was prime soil that was put over?
No.
Okay. Summer, do you have that at all on the project?
I
Cause
don't think there is.
because I don't think it is. You don't have a lot of prime soil on it,
It's-
but
all
I'm
this
just,
was addressed.
yeah.
All this
Yeah,
was
when the
addressed.
very, very
And
beginning, when
I
he
have
first applied.
I understand.
Yeah, I didn't think there were.
Everything.
I agree. I'm just trying to,
There is.
she had concerns that my
Sorry.
concern and I'm trying to, you know, talk to her concerns about that, because I'm actually not really. So I'm surprised that you would say that, but I am factual, and if in fact, it was prime soil, then we might have a concern, but if it's not, then.
Well, that has to be addressed with the county, I'm sorry.
Okay, but so because it's on consent agenda, that's right, so they've already approved it, that's right, okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Nothing
Nothing from
Going
me.
to Maryland, I gotta make sure I get BJ after too, though.
I have a question for BJ, because he knows historically the farms and ranches on the coast side pretty well. And if I recall, when you first came back, I was on the Ag Advisory Committee, and BJ had said that there were historically not much farmed there. Is that true?
That's right.
So it wasn't a farm.
It was a ranch. Cattle was on it.
Yeah, but
And horse, that falls under. that.
Horses aren't considered agriculture, though. Did you know that?
But.
Well, then why is that considered?
No,
one of
they
the
are.
reasons
Oh,
that
if
it's
you're
not an
breeding.
ag
Yeah.
If you're a breeding facility. Okay, so
hobby, which is great. It's wonderful. They
it's
have
a
horses,
business,
they're
I
beautiful
think.
horses.
Yeah,
They take wonderful care of them.
I think it's, okay.
Hey, remember
Okay.
you used to board your horses at my house?
Yeah, but you didn't, so I knew.
You are a very patient man. That's
Hey,
all I have to say.
BJ, you want to talk?
I'm gonna speak to the chair painting obvious signs in the center of the proposed two-person presenting a
I-
concern.
yeah.
She's being extremely rude and biased, and you can tell Ray that for me.
Okay, I want to recognize BJ. at this.
Okay,
Yeah. He's
number
the
one,
chair.
I remember it came before the Ag Committee when I was on the Ag Committee, and we felt that it wasn't prime ground because it was broke up in, I believe, 4 parcels. We didn't feel it was prime agriculture ground, which we felt it wasn't because you couldn't make a living in agriculture. Right. Gavin had the ideal situation that he was bringing there that would work. Whether 12 events, 10 events, or 20 events is too many or not enough, that I don't know. One of the things that concerns me, and it's always concerned me about this ag tourism, that it's gotta be secondary to agriculture. Agriculture's gotta be priority, otherwise what's gonna happen? The secondary is gonna take over, it's gonna be primary, and I don't wanna see that person. But in his situation, I think he points a lot to agriculture. We just had an event there Friday night. Farm Bureau, fresh as it gets. We had a veterans dinner there the other night, and we raised quite a few $1,000s for the 4-H and the FFA, which I appreciate very much through Farm Bureau. We were very, I don't think we were noisy or we enjoyed ourselves. It's the 3rd year we've done this. We do 2 or 3 events down there every year. And Kevin's very gracious with us. He's very much on the side of agriculture with the
old pieces of equipment he's got down there. It educates people when they come there. They can see those things, they ask questions. And I love that kind of stuff. It really means a lot because try to educate kids on agriculture. So that is a plus down there, what he does for the community. And he's very generous. He's very generous to the community. He helps wherever he can help. He's there always. Whether the road for you is a problem, maybe there's a way you can widen that road to make it more passable. But I don't think that should be his, responsibility. That was there when he came and you've had it. So that's the way the road was. But as far as the activities that go there, again, I'm not saying too much and not enough. That's between him and the county. But I think he's an asset to the community. I really do.
First off, we gotta hurry up too.
And then we gotta vote, yeah.
So for emergencies, have you expressed your concerns to the fire department?
No, I have not, because the fire department had signed off on the permit. And what this sort of took me by surprise, because up until this last year, there would be 60, maybe 100 cars. But this last year with Cassie's ramping up her corporate events, that's when we got hit with all these hundreds of people and cars and buses. So up until this year, when we started to have 3 or 4 corporate events a week with this number of cars, and through the fire season, did it dawn on me that this probably is not a safe place for me to be. If I need to get out of here, there's no, it'll be blocked by all these guests that Kevin and Cassie have.
Okay, so second question, if things were not to change and he was not limited to the events he can throw there, do you have an alternative route that you could suggest to him through his property?
There isn't any way. As you saw from the map that Summer put up, the entire access to Rudy is covered by his property, his developed part of the property. There is no, there's no other way except on the easement that I currently have.
So your solution is to just limit the amount of business he's allowed to do?
Well, the number, so that, if there's 100 cars, I have a chance. If there's 300 cars, do I have a chance? That's something the fire departments look at, I'm assuming. Because you know more than I do.
Does they block the right of way?
Peter's
No, as I said before,
And so it's really any road around here. I mean, if there's an emergency, if you have a tsunami warning.
Olivia, just to let you know, the vice chair is taking over for me right now.
So we're all.
Yes, I thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you because
I know.
your chair was talking over you.
Okay, John, you're next.
Well, I guess, I appreciate that members of the committee are trying to find solutions for, the neighbor to this property. But it seems clear to me based on the description, from the letter, that there's 90 events a year and up to 300 people, that it does not, the activities don't actually conform with the agritourism guidelines. And I think that's probably part of the issue here. It's like, not that his business has to be limited and that's unfair, but the way he's operating his business does not, and maybe it's an issue that needs to be addressed with the county. But I think if there is an event center where there's regularly many cars there, then perhaps a better right of way for a neighbor would be necessary to create. So I think it's reasonable for this to be brought before the committee because the activities that are going on there don't appear to me to conform to the guidelines.
Yeah, I was gonna echo the same thing. And I was also gonna go back to Summer's 3 questions that she was asking for committee to answer, but I feel like we got distracted on that. But I was also just unclear, are we are we voting on approving 12 private events under these guidelines, or are we
Or what this says. we're
voting to allow 90
12 year events.
a year, you know?
12 events a
Um,
year.
Well, then I propose we vote on 12 events.
Make a
year.
motion?
Make a motion.
Okay, could you repeat the motion, please?
I'm so bad at this. I make a motion to vote on this item.
You make a motion to
To
approve.
To approve
As written.
as written on the agenda.
Okay, I second it.
Natalie seconds it.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's passed as stand.
Thank you all. Appreciate you listening to me. Thank you.
Okay, what's the next item then?
Can I make one comment before she leaves?
Yeah, Vice Chair recommends BJ Burton for one quick.
You made a comment about the neighbor, about a rat pumpkin farm. Just to let you know, he's under the Williamson Act. And you're not supposed to be doing what he's doing there under the Williamson Act. So he should really get out of the Williamson Act. And I know that place pretty well. I've watched that thing grow. He's only supposed to have a few hundred bales there, and that pretty much got at least, if not more than half of it covered in bales. And he's supposed to be removing them. He's not doing it, because that is prime agriculture ground. He's supposed to be farming.
And I understand, sir, BJ, and all of you, he has never paid for those bales of hay.
Well, whether he paid for it or not, they just don't belong there.
And he's supposed to start in August and he starts in July, 4th of
So we
July.
move on to item 10.
Yeah, item 10.
Okay.
Okay, I'll take over now.
Okay,
Wanted to recuse myself.
as noted, Chair Natalie takes over.
So owners, Joseph Cash McAvoy, please let me know if I mispronounced your name. Michael Cicornio, Ronald Cicornio, thank you. True Italian. Ronald Cicornio and Rosanna Cicornio. The applicant is Joseph Cash McAvoy. It's PLN number 2023-00084. Location is 5321 and 4931 Pescadero Creek Road, Pescadero. Assessor's parcel number 088-120-190-087-110-037 for consideration of a coastal development CDP Pan Agriculture District permit and lot line adjustment to adjust the segment of the shared property boundary between the two neighboring parcels. The project is located in the Pescadero Road County Scenic Corridor. The CDP is appealable to the California Coastal Commission. The project planner is Olivia Boo. So we are to look at the project overview, questions, input from committee members, public comment. Speakers will be asked to state their name before providing comment and to limit their comments to 2 minutes. Action motion by AAC. The action request that the AAC provide a recommendation to the Planning Commission on the subject application. So is the presenter Olivia Boo, you're presenting? As the
Yes.
planner? Okay,
Yes.
go ahead. Thank you.
I do not have the presentation in this exact format as what Summer did. I have the staff report. So I wanted to go through just an overview. This is a vicinity plan. I've identified in the staff report the subject part, the applicant is parcel A, and then the lot line adjustment is proposed with parcel B. And then to give you a view of this, so this is in this, I wanted to put this in the same direction, compass direction as the map that I just showed you. So again, this is parcel A on the right and then parcel B on the left. It's a zoomed in view. There are existing agricultural buildings towards the front, which is Pescadero Road is, Pescadero Creek Road is down here to this, that direction. And then the purpose and goal of this lot line adjustment is there is an ag building that belongs to parcel A, 5321 Pescadero Creek Road. And it was found to be actually constructed on within the property boundaries of parcel B. So this is to rectify, the owner is wanting to rectify the situation. And so this is, that's what the lot line adjustment is proposing. And then let's move over to, in terms of the questions, will for the Agricultural Advisory Committee to determine will the development have any negative effect on agricultural surrounding uses? And if so, what are the recommendations to minimize it? And then the second question of the position for planning commission to take with respect to the application and process for the project. This is scheduled for the planning commission on December 10th. And there also is for the ag management plan, the applicant does have, let me scroll down to that one, tree propagation. There's existing, it's suitable for future grazing capabilities and other potential agricultural uses. The lot line adjustment will allow continue to preserve agricultural use on parcel A. And it serves to support existing and continued tree propagation.
Peter Markey, Chair recognizes Peter Markey.
The two parcel owners, I don't think they're here. Are they agreeable for this, both sides?
Yes, yes.
Any other discussion?
I second.
Any other? Carrie, go ahead.
I reviewed this application and, my understanding that for any lot line adjustment in the PAD, that there would also be a corresponding, conservation easement that gets recorded. It wasn't really discussed in Olivia's information and, given the relatively small size of these parcels, you know, being 23 and 76 acres in the PAD, those are actually pretty small for what the range of parcel sizes are under the planned agricultural district. So what form and effect that the conservation easement will have, I'm not so sure how useful it is, but it does impact other properties that are larger. Like I have another project on Pescadero Creek Road that was between an 80-acre piece and a 560-acre piece that is under active ag. And I don't know exactly how active this ag is on these two parcels, just given the looking of the aerials, but that the conservation easement is a deterrent for somebody who's actually in an active, farming situation. So I just think that there's sometimes how we apply these lot line adjustment, which is a very small thing, to maybe, in the case of my project was to improve access for cattle trucks and other things. That's a very onerous thing to have put on your larger active ag parcel versus something like this, is they're solving something, but then again, it may not have that much repercussion. But also looking a little bit more deeply into the application, you not only have a building that's getting transferred, but you're having two wells that's getting transferred to this one site. What about the remaining parcel? Where's their water source? I mean, there's a building there. So I guess that, to me, there's just some questions about making sure that you're not, accomplishing one thing for the benefit. I mean, even though that obviously both property owners know what's going on, it just seemed like a rather, I would know on my property probably whether it was missing, 3.5 acres, not on that side of a piece, but, it's just a question just to, going forward, just in general about PAD is that, one, to do a lot line adjustment, you can be encumbered by this conservation easement, and two, just really taking a look at, what the water resources are and making sure that that the resulting parcels, that one isn't left in a substandard situation with regards to water. Thank you.
Thanks. Peter Markey, I'm sitting back here so I get the other guy.
Normally in this situation like this, when the applicant's not here in the past, we ask that the applicant be present so we can, so these questions could be answered. We could make a motion.
Correct. Yeah,
Or-
and just to clarify that I had checked and I don't know. I had conferred with the applicant and he was supposed to be in attendance.
So I personally would like to have the applicants be present in the next meeting. So we could ask these questions because I hate to make a motion or vote on something with the assumption without them being here. That might encumber them, like Carrie just stated. I make a motion to put it on to next meeting.
But then
Do we have a
on the
second?
table.
Pardon me?
Do we have a second?
There's a motion on the table.
Yeah, you move to put it to the next meeting?
No, he moved to approve it.
Yeah,
Oh, you.
And I
moved to
seconded
approve
it.
Oh, and you second,
And you
okay,
seconded
Yeah.
it.
okay,
Okay, so it's been, thank you so much. Marilyn.
okay.
So it's been, I moved here, back here so I can see better, but I can hear us all right. So yeah, so do
I
we
mean,
vote
we
on
could
it?
make a
Yeah, all
vote.
in favor, say
Or-
aye.
Make
I
a
don't-
vote.
There's a motion, you
don't
have to vote.
Vote, you
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah,
It has to be voted on, yea or nay. now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
all in favor, I said aye, but I guess I should say yay. All those in favor say yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay.
Opposed?
Opposed?
All opposed.
We gotta
Okay,
do a number count.
so we have, okay, sorry.
Well, the motion is to move it to the next meeting, correct?
No.
Oh.
Move to pass. Daniel Leopold moved to pass it, so, okay, so all those
I
in
misheard that as
favor
well.
of passing it, can you raise your hand or? do we-
Repeat the motion.
Okay, can you repeat the motion? Thank you.
It's to approve.
I moved to approve.
As written. Okay, Daniel Theobald moves to approve it as written, and Marilyn Johnson seconded. All those that are in favor, can you raise your hand for a count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, all those opposed? 1, 2. Okay, and I'm gonna recuse right now. So, it looks like it's passed. Okay, thank you. Okay, is that it? It looks like it might be it. Is there any we missed since we had to change the agenda? All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.